are forever grateful to God and also grateful to God for the privilege to be among the living and to celebrate a new month. The crew of the Dailies, which everyone you who is celebrating one remarkable occasion or the other in this month of September. Happy new month to you all out there. Let's keep the conversation busy and active as you send in your comments and contributions on stories we'll be reviewing together. You know I won't be doing this alone. I have Sele Elisha with me in the studio. I'll be reviewing stories together. Sele, good morning.
Morning and happy new month.
Happy new month to you too.
Thank you so much.
So let's start off with the papers.
Yes, the first news, we have how I tackle ASU strike within a day. This is coming from the ex-president Jonathan. Says, I presided over the meeting with the lecturers alongside my VP, SGF ministers and others. You can get that on the first news. Still on the first news, Uzibanjo in US to meet Kamala Harris and others. PDP crisis, you can't force me to resign, IU tells Wiki. Blast the River Governor scam, says those demanding my resignation are children. This is still coming from IU, the chairman of PDP. Still on 2023, Uzibanjo, Lawan and Mechi's absence stalls the APC reconciliation meeting. Students APC chairman Adamu security aid clash at the party headquarters. The big story which has been on the paper since on Monday, ASU to federal government meet our fresh demands. We will end the strike once the federal government to channel the $23 million Abacha loot to education. As NAS deploys the union's decision as unpatriotic. Wicked urges the state universities to resume classes. And ASU strike no longer acceptable. This is coming from the Labour Party candidate Peter Obi. Police arrest 2 vigilantes over rape of housewife, another for defiling a 3-year-old girl. Okowa slam Shetima over comment on supreme role of president if the APC wins. And we're having here Atiku PDP asks court to dismiss Wike suits. 2023 APC cannot secure 25 votes in most states. This is coming from the PDP. And how some military generals threaten me with CIA. This is coming from the Rivers Governor Wike. And Tambolo, Akire Dolu blasts the federal government over the 48 billion naira pipeline protection. 6,000 Nigerian doctors moved to UK under Buhari, and we'd like to know what your takes are, so you can drop your comment on our Facebook page. And that's all on First News to say.
Thank you. On the Matrix newspaper, we have Peter Obi campaigns vows to raise $150 million diaspora funds, 100 billion naira locally, and Osibanjo departs to US set for high-level meeting with Kamala Harris, David Malpass, and others. On EPL, Arsenal maintains perfect start. City hits first for 6 as Liverpool clinch last-minute winner. And on Lagos Phase 2 Okada ban, security agencies in power show ahead enforcement. The big story on ASU federal government face-off worsens. Jonathan reveals way forward. ASU talks tough, vows not to back down, says no condition has been met. Emirates Airlines restores flight operations to Nigeria, and Edo State government to conduct mass burial for mummified bodies. On brain drain bites others, Nigerians PG Medical College records decline in fellowship application, and only Lagos FCT Ekiti Kogi recorded capital investment in second quarter 2022. The big story, the picture story says celebrating with birthday boy, and we know yesterday Reverend Father Kuka celebrated his birthday, not just gathering the high and mighty, but also to discuss a way forward in the country and how each sector can experience change and positive change in those places for us to grow as a nation. That's all on the Matrix.
On Daily Independent newspaper, trap funds weekend force foreign airlines to remain in Nigeria. This is coming from the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, with the rider saying the AON debunks 19 billion naira fraud allegation. You can actually read that on the front page and also continue to read more on page 29. Wike asks ex-generals to use contract with the CIA to end terrorism. The big story, which is on most of the paper, PDP crisis. Those asking me to resign are children. This is coming from the chairman, Ayu. Vows they won't allow any individual to destabilize the party. And we're having here a tribunal orders rerun election in FCT Council. You can read more of that on page 6. Nigerians spent $6 billion in importation of wheat in 5 years. This is coming from the minister, and I believe we can do more when it comes to agriculture by making the environment conducive and also tackling insecurity so that we can actually, be able to produce our own wheat here in the country, because the weather here is very conducive for any crop you would like to plant. NAT stormed the APC National Secretariat and threatened to burn the premises. You can read detail of that on page 7. And on 2023 presidency, no deal between Obi and Atiku. This is coming from Okupe, and said the Labour Party presidential candidate asked the federal government to end ASU strike. Lagos Okada ban in new local government areas, LCDAs, begins today. And Emirates suspend Nigerian routes today, resumes September 11. A big story here, say how I resolved 4-month-old ASU strike in 1 day. This is coming from Jonathan. The last story, which has the downside of the paper, troop kill IPOP, ESN members recover rocket launchers in Imo. This is a report coming from the Army. You can read more of that on page 6, and that's all on Daily Independent newspaper.
And on the Voice of Liberty, NNPC locked agreement to supply Dangote refinery crude oil for 20 years. The PDP crisis, Wike, mere noisemaker, was a child when we formed PDP. This is coming from Iocha Ayu, and we know part of what Wike told PDP was that Iocha Ayu should step down as the chairman of the PDP. And we see what Iocha is saying back to Wike, and we trust Wike, we trust the River State governor to reply back. So we'll bring it up to you after the reply of Wike concerning the story. And ASU gives fresh condition to end lingering strike. The Academic Staff Union of University have outlined fresh conditions the federal government must take to end its 6-month-long academic strike. Election Tribunal orders rerun election in 6 wards of Kuje Area Council. This is from the FCT. And most crude oil theft occurs offshore. This is from the Navy. So we need them to do something about Navy to be at alert, to look out for all those people who take our crude oil out of this country. We know we need all this, so we just hope that the Navy will be at alert to get all those culprits that take our crude oil and also involved in oil bunkering. 2023 presidential election, court fixes dates to hear Wike's suit against PDP and Atiku. And on insecurity, bandits are becoming more sophisticated during Nigeria. This is coming from Masari, and this is no news because we keep on talking about how these bandits are improving on themselves. Talk about the weapons they use. Talk about how they go about issues. You see videos where they send videos even after abducting people, even after raising communities. They send videos. So they are sophisticated, and this is another call for our own military also to intensify more efforts and also look out for ways they can also be sophisticated so that they can beat up to the terrorists and also supersede them in all the battles. That's all on the Voice of Liberty.
On Nigerian News Direct, Nigerian has the worst religious crisis in Africa. This is coming from Goodluck Jonathan. And the Muslim ticket focus should be on the need for good governance. This is coming from Obasa and others. CAC pledges support for NACCIMA women entrepreneurs. You can read more of that through on Nigerian News Direct. The big story here says we would not allow any individual to destabilize PDP. I think we've seen that on other papers. Downside, we also have ICTEL Expo, Galaxy Backbone advocates increased partnership to propel Nigerian digital economy. And we have the oil turf war. Minister commissions 8 gunboats in rivers, and I hope that will be able to tackle the issue of the crude oil turf. NCC issues new international termination rate. You can read that up too on the Nigerian News Direct. And the last story here says $460 billion energy transition plan. Osinbajo leads delegates to seek global support and partnership. And that's all on the Nigerian News Direct.
On the Nation newspaper, EFCC probing Zamfara governor for alleged money laundering. Akeredolu accuses federal government of bias in Tompolo's pipeline contract. Buhari governors Kalu order great cooker at 70. And Lagos Okada ban phase 2 enforcement kicks off. Microfinance Bank gets CBN's nod to recover 5.8 billion naira from defaulters. Details can be found in page 28. Investors maintain 4.5 trillion naira gain for 8 months, as 28.3 billion naira recorded as net loss in August. For PDP crisis, Ayu hits Wike, Autumn, Makinde and Ikpeazu. They were nowhere when we formed PDP. Rivers governor demands state stake in party. Mimiko Duke Aduke Ghana accuses of fueling crisis. And the National Working Committee to meet Benue, Oyo, Enugu, Abia, Akwa Ibom governors. Aviation fuel price hike may affect our operators. CAS Amao warns seek import license and depot establishment. On 2035 fossil fuel deadline will hurt economy, says Manufacturer Association of Nigeria. And the last story on the Nation, 7 family members die after breakfast. Man stabs grandmother to death. Details can be found in page 3, and that's all on the Nation.
All right, let's take a look at a little from the world of sport from Sporting Sun newspaper. It will be enjoying the new Everton rule. You can read up that on page 6. Chelsea guns for Nyima. And we have Saka confident of signing new Arsenal contract. Chelsea fans angry with Tuchel. And we have here Everton tables, 45 million euro loan offer for Chukwueze. You can read that on page 6. And we have Sadiq Umar transfer to Real Sociedad crashes. That also can be found on page 6. Head offers Wader big money to fight Joshua. You can get up all of the sporting juicy news on the Sporting Sun newspaper. That's all on the Sporting Sun.
And from Bangladesh, let's see the Business Standard saying no U.S. objection on Russian oil import. With uninterrupted supply of fuel oil will continue in the PM. We have the import LC payment drops 25% in the month of August. And Dutch company acquires Petromax LPG cylinders for over TK 1,000 CR. South Korea to increase soft loans to $3 billion for Bangladesh envoy. And bus fares reduced by TK 5% kilometer after the TK 40% rise. A mega appeal event wants foreign ministers on the guest list. The sourcing event later this year aims to break new grounds on items of scope, scale and ambition. And we just hope that we look into all this even in our country on how we can improve the GDP and look into areas where growth is essential and invest into those places for us to grow as a nation. That's all on the TBS.
All right, let's take a look at still from the world of sport on Business Day newspaper. We have Peter Obi wants Nigerians linked to oil theft name punished. Still on business, we have oil theft claims outrageous, says Navy chief. You can read that up too on page 3. Banks' interest income jumps in the first half on rate hike. Nigeria faces tough choices of 6 trillion naira petrol subsidy in 2023. With that found on page 31. A new pharmacy at aims to cripple multi-billion naira open drug market. You can read that up on page 4. The big story says lower jam cut-off marks seen as a threat to education. We have a bar chart here that said Nigerian banks record an increase in loan in the first half of 2022. We have other smaller stories here, and you can actually grab the Business Day newspaper and read any of the stories that is of interest to you.
On the national star, Buhari Amechi interfered with 2019 elections in River, Wike alleges. And don't use religion for political manipulations, Kuka warns politicians. Monkeypox outbreak top 50,000 cases worldwide, and we need to speedily intervene in this situation for it not to spread across all the states that we are having record of it in the country. Crack in Shekaro's camp as loyalists refuse to move to PDP. Name terrorism financiers, oil thieves, Obi tells Buhari. As for pipeline contract, president has compromised nation's security, says Akere Dolu. And for flood, 15 bodies recovered in Maiduguri River. Atiku Tambuwal PDP kicks as Wike suit against primary gets September 14 to date. Details can be found in page 22, and that's how far we can go on this program this morning. Thank you very much, Sele, for doing this with me. This is a good month and this is a new month. Anywhere you find yourself, please blossom there. Have a blessed day.